Like my beard, kind of. Haven't shaved in about 3 or 4 days. It's not all that because I don't plan on keeping it. But the main reason I was keeping it because of the cold. We'll get there in a second. This is a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 485. Big bouncy balloons. If you know what I mean. It is, as of now, 11:51 p.m. on Saturday, February 4th. Tomorrow will be February 5th. Real quick, I'll give a happy birthday shout out to my brother-in-law, Mike. It's his birthday today. I think my stepbrother Ryan's birthday is tomorrow or on the 6th, one of those two, but he's got a birthday coming up, so I wish them happy birthday as well. This is the weekend before the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is next weekend. Me and my former comics partner, MJ Khan, used to do a Man Day show where we'd talk about the Super Bowl, our Super Bowl picks and stuff like that. So that's not going to happen this year. It hasn't happened for a few years because, unfortunately, with the new YouTube system of doing things, I can't have guests on my shows anymore. But that's all right. But yeah, Super Bowl is next week. We'll tell you who'll be playing in the aforementioned Super Bowl. Tomorrow or in 9 minutes or 7 minutes, whatever, community day for Pokemon Go. Noibat is tomorrow. Hopefully temperature will be a lot better. We've got some Guy Ritchie shows up a bunch of times. Sturgeons also show up a bunch of times as well. Animals, more, retirement, new stuff to eat, new season pickups, some Sarah Michelle Gellar stuff. Sex, drugs, and women getting set on fire. That's from the movie The Ref. Video game stuff, Super Bowl, holidays. I got 5 pages worth of stuff. Anniversaries, deaths. DC unveiled their first wave of new films and stuff under James Gunn. We'll get into that a little bit later. I forgot to write it down because I ran out of time, so I just used the because there was a specific one that had all the dates and stuff like that on it. And I don't know if I can find that again. End of production for some people, start up a production for others. I'm a miracle worker, Groundhog Day, all kinds of stuff. So flying spirals, CDs are coming back. The Butt Slap League is another one, too. So we got some good stuff coming up. So first up, next Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. And the Kansas City Chiefs will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe it's in Arizona. This matchup really does not excite me too much. I do have lots of friends in Pennsylvania who love the Eagles from college, and my aunt and uncle and my cousins, I think, who live in Ocean City, New Jersey, they were always Eagles fans because they were closer to Philadelphia than they were East Rutherford, where the Jets and Giants play. So that's for them. And my friend I worked with at Diamond, he's from Kansas City. He is a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. So I could really care less about this game, to be honest. I'm just sort of blah, but it is next weekend. Next weekend, also, my wife will be going away on a girls' weekend with her mom and one of her sisters. I thought it was both of her sisters, but only one of her sisters. So I will have the kids all weekend to myself, which is fine. Found out their next camping trip will be at the end of the month, so I will have another solo weekend at the end of the month when Cocaine Bear actually comes out on February 24th, so that's cool. Ant-Man 3 will be out February 17th. Valentine's Day is rolling in here in a couple weeks, so we got all kinds of stuff. As I said, it's February 4th, 10 days of Valentine's Day, and soon 9 days of Valentine's Day. So before we get to that, we had Groundhog Day. Was on, the second would be Thursday. Groundhog Day was Thursday. I got a new Groundhog Day shirt, but I wore it, so I'm not going to wear it for today's episode. But he saw his shadow, so that means there's 6 more weeks of winter. Not too unexpected, as it were, because we got hit with a polar vortex this weekend. I'll be talking more about that later in the show, but we got, temperatures dropped down to the teens. It wasn't as bad as the one that came out on Christmas Eve, but this one was still chilly enough. And it's only a 2-day event. It was Friday and Saturday, and you see the temperature drop. I was looking at my phone on Friday morning, and it was like 36 degrees when I got up, and I'm looking at the hourly progressions. It's like 36, 35, 33, 31, 28, 25 by like 2 p.m. So it's like Jesus. So you see the weather's dropping and the winds really got picked up heavy. So the wind chill was a lot worse in New Hampshire. We'll get to that in a little bit. And so, that's one of the reasons why I'm wearing my double stuff here instead of regular t-shirt here, because it's chilly down the basement because the heat rises. So all the heat's upstairs where it belongs, where my family is. But we have that. And that's also why I have this beard. In eighth grade science class, my eighth grade science class teacher, basically during the fall, he was clean shaven. And then during the winter, he wore a beard. And everybody was asking, why do you have a beard? And he's like, he was wearing it because he needed to protect his face from the cold. So it's always sort of stuck with me, even though I don't know if it's really true or not. But I decided didn't feel like shaving. It's not like shaving either. So I decided I was just going to keep this through tonight. And then tomorrow when I wake up and take my shower, this is all going to be shaved and gone. So we're back to my normal old self that way. This week was kind of uneventful. My mom had chemo. We're supposed to have a chemo on Wednesday the 1st, and I took off work to take her to it, but discovered that her potassium levels were very low and she was dehydrated. So the doctor said, you can't have your chemo medicine today. So they had to input potassium and liquids in there. So that's what I was there for her with. She starts her actual new chemo on Wednesday. Let's see. It'd be the 8th. For Wednesday's the 8th. So good on. I guess it's okay, but it pissed my mom off because now that puts her back a week. But I told her, look, if you would have had it, this week, it's a 12-week drug. By the time you were done, it'd be right around your birthday. And next step would be to have your surgery to remove the cancerous lump, and it'd be right around your birthday. So why not take it another week afterwards so you get your tumor removed in early May. So we'll see what happens with that. So good on that. The big news story for today, and where I got the name for Big Bouncy Balloons, even though it's not exactly what you think it is. This week, Friday, we got really good news of the unemployment front. Unemployment's dropped dramatically again. More jobs have been created. It's the most jobs have been created in a long time. And it's really good. It shows that President Biden is doing a good job. But of course, the effing Republican AFUCks like to ignore everything that's good, and also to distract from the fact they're trying to steal your Social Security also. So a balloon was photographed over Montana that was from China, apparently a spy balloon. And so the Republicans jumped to that and says, why isn't Joe Biden doing anything about this? He's a communist. He's with China, stuff like that. And they just got the information of it like on Friday. And then today, Joe Biden sent aircrafts out there to blow it up when it wasn't over people. So it's gone now. So Republicans don't know what else they're going to talk about. So, but yep, there was that. It was all the news could talk about. They ignored completely the wonderful employment news and the job creation news because the mainstream media is pro-Republican due to them being owned by Republican ass fucks. But now that's over. We can start focusing on what's really important is that stuff. So. Big Bouncy Balloons is also just a way to just try to get more people to see my show, because that's what gets people's attention. It's now officially Sunday, February 5th, 12 a.m. right now. So that means I can talk about this. Qualls, which are these little like rodent sort of things. The males value sex more than sleeping, and that leads to them dying because they'd rather have sex 24/7 instead of sleeping. So good on you, little qualls, little rodent things. Speaking of animal sex, I figured may as well just connect them to this. It was like the last story I wrote about today. There was a, where is this? I know it's here somewhere. There was a gibbon. Hmm, I thought it was on this page. It was a gibbon, a female gibbon that was put in like a solitary confinement, sort of a little bit, and the zookeepers were shocked to discover that she had a baby. And they don't know how it happened because they've been monitoring her and making sure that, you know, no males got in there and got her pregnant or whatever. But she had a baby, so they're trying to figure out how it happened. Now they believe what happened was there is a male in the next cage over from her. Let's see if I can find the story. Oh well, it'll come to me eventually. In the next cage over to her, but it was blocked by all kinds of stuff. But apparently there was a hole in the wall that the male gibbon put his junk through, and the female backed that shit up and got pregnant. So that's kind of a funny little anecdote, and I can't find it right here. So when I come across it, I'll have to check it off. Keeping on sort of the not animal sex thing, but at least our sexual stuff. You've seen the videos of the slap leagues where people face off each other and slap each other as hard as they can, and the last person standing wins. So they slap them as hard. I mean, not just lightly. This is like taking your hand and smacking it as hard as they can, and then hitting it back again. So this becomes sort of a weird sort of spectator sport that's popped up periodically on Reels and TikToks and stuff like that. These two guys just slapping the shit out of each other till one of them has had enough and falls. Well, now to add a little sex appeal to it, they created the butt slap league, where it's women, in this case, obviously wearing like bikinis and stuff like that, who are up on stage and who slap each other in the ass until one of them has had enough. So, gotta love the butt slap league. I should name the episode that, butt slap league, but I think Big Bouncy Balloons works as well. Oh yeah, some good news here. Actually, I probably shouldn't, but I will. Some good news also. I talked about my brother-in-law's birthday and my stepbrother's birthday. My cousin's daughter just got accepted to the Naval Academy. He is a former Naval Academy graduate as well. He's not a former one. He is a Naval Academy graduate, but his daughter actually got into the Naval Academy as well. So congratulations to Avery there. So that's good. Valentine's Day is coming up soon. As I said, it's now the 6th, though that'd be 9 days from 5th. I'm sorry, 9 days from now. And Krispy Kreme is pulling out their heart-shaped donuts, which have always been kind of interesting. They look kind of neat, and they've got the regular donut and toppings on it and cream and stuff inside of it as well. And I remember distinctly, I believe it very well could have been 2020, actually, because everything shut down in March and not February. So it would have had to have been, it was 2020. I don't think it was actually Valentine's Day, but it was right around Valentine's Day 2020. It might have been Valentine's Day. I took the day off of work because I guess I had to go get my wife's Valentine's Day stuff. I hadn't gotten it yet. And when I take days off of work, the first place I go is I go to Chick-fil-A for their breakfast, because their breakfast is outstanding. I have 2 chicken, egg, and cheese biscuits and a medium Dr. Pepper. I remember distinctly that when I got the chicken, egg, and cheese biscuits, they were heart-shaped. And it was right around Valentine's Day. All right. See if I can find this. I know it's near the top here. See, I don't think I deleted it. Hopefully I didn't delete it. But yeah, it was absolutely insane to see a heart-shaped chicken, egg, and cheese biscuit from Chick-fil-A for Valentine's Day. Let me just see if I can find it. So that's kind of neat. So that's coming up here soon. Dr. Pepper is also releasing a a flavor I guess you could connect to Valentine's Day somewhat. They're doing a strawberries and cream soda, which will be available in regular stores, is what they're saying. So it won't be one of those special ones where you have to, jump through hoops to get that bullshit and stuff like that. But in this case, the strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper should be out and about in stores here soon. And once I find some, as I always do, hopefully it will be before Valentine's Day, I will have one down here and I will drink it before the show. Hopefully it'll be next weekend. It would be great because it's basically Valentine's Day weekend, Super Bowl weekend, whatever, because Super Bowl is the 12th, Valentine's Day is next Tuesday. So hopefully that would be up there as well. I'm still trying to see if I have this picture. So that's kind of interesting. What else? Anything else? Valentine's Day related here? Nope. Oh yeah, here's another. So I told you the story about the gibbon that got pregnant in solitary, but found out that the male gibbon probably stuck his junk through a hole, or they call it the glory hole, as they call it here. Here's another story similar to that. Where is it? I just have it. Woman gets oral sex. A woman gives oral sex to, turns out to be her brother, through a large hole, a glory hole in this case. And they're blaming a dating site. So what I'm assuming, I don't think they knew that they were brother and sister when it happened, but I guess they went to a dating site and maybe they used fake names or whatever. And so they were like using fake names. So they got on the dating site and somehow they were able to say, let's meet up at this bathroom or whatever. And there was a glory hole and the guy stuck his junk through it and she blew him through it. And then apparently they discovered that they were related. So it seems like a setup for a porn movie, actually. But I think I'm in 2019 now. So that's kind of interesting about that. So all kinds of weird, crazy stuff happening here. With glory holes and stuff. And I bet you didn't think you'd see glory holes in a TV show, in a YouTube show, but here we are. Owings Mills, which is not too far from here, they have a new shopping area. And I think they're going to be moving a, what's it called? It's called Cinnaholic, which is like a restaurant that focuses just on cinnamon buns. Not really a restaurant, but just a place that has fancy cinnamon buns is coming to Owings Mills. So that'll be neat to have a Cinnaholic. Here we are, 2020 here. There it is. Yeah, it was Valentine's Day. So I took Valentine's Day off in 2020 and I went to Chick-fil-A to get my chicken, egg, and cheese biscuit. And let's see if I can get it. And it's heart-shaped. See? So kind of interesting. But yeah, so come on. There we go. So that's kind of interesting about that. But Cinnaholic it looks like they look like really fancy cinnamon buns that have all kinds of specialty items on it and stuff like that. Could be really, really interesting to see that. So that's good. I don't think anything else on this page that is like Valentine's related. The Baltimore Zoo is hosting a flamingo date where you can have bottomless mimosas, food, and flamingos. And I'm a flamingo guy, so that's actually kind of cool. So maybe I'll get involved with that stuff. So what was I going to do next? I was going to do that one next. Okay, so the Percy Jackson TV show has been in production for a while now on Disney Plus, and Rick Riordan's involved with it, so I have high hopes for it. The cast looks great. They finished production this week, so now they're going to start editing it, and we'll get our first looks at Percy Jackson probably sometime this summer, including a potential date for when it's coming out. But yeah, they have finished filming the first season of Percy Jackson, so outstanding. That was Disney Plus. Netflix has been threatening to um, cut down on sharing passwords with other people. And this week they released what their new password deal is going to be. Basically, you would have to check in with your password every 30 days from your device, and no, every month you'd have to do this. It had to be from where your device is registered to what TV and stuff like that. And if it doesn't, they will block you on Netflix. And it didn't stand really well with Netflix subscribers. They probably lost some subscribers from that. But then some people made some interesting points. It's like, what about their kids in college or stuff like that, where, you know, they have an account, but they're using it in college, which is not the device that it's registered on, you know, something like that. And there was some other stuff, but eventually Netflix walked it back and said, okay, this isn't working, so we're going to go back to the planning stage to see what we can do to, you know, cut down on password sharing. So a victory for those, and I think they should just leave it as is, because there's nothing wrong with password sharing. I know people would prefer that they would have their own account because it's more money for Netflix, but I don't find anything wrong with password sharing. I don't password share with anybody because my whole family just sits there and watch it. But if I could, I wouldn't mind doing that. Tom Brady retires again. This one looks like it might take, obviously, but we thought the last one might be that way. And then he came back and ended up getting divorced and all that stuff. So he retired again this week. And he's like, this time it's going to stick. And he made a video on Miami Beach or Tampa Bay Beach or whatever, where he was saying, you know, he announced his retirement and it's going to keep, and so on and so forth. Well, eagle-eyed people who watched the video saw where he made the video from, went to the location and grabbed a bunch of sand from that area and is selling it on eBay now as sand where Tom Brady announced his retirement. And obviously someone is probably going to pay way too much money for some bullshit like that. So good riddance to him. Could care less about him. Moving on. Sean Payton, who was connected to Tom Brady last year during the whole retirement Miami Dolphins fiasco, has signed a deal with the Denver Broncos to be their new head coach for the next 4 to 5 years. He had to work out of his contract with New Orleans Saints, so they're going to get a couple draft picks, including a couple first rounds and a second round, I think. So Sean Payton is coming back to the NFL, will be coaching the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson next year. So to start all the talk about how great Denver's going to be this year, Russell Wilson looked awful. I don't really see him having a rebound year. They need a better one, even with Sean Payton there. So you will hear all about how, okay, he's going to find the right person now, and Denver's going to be back in the mix again, and Russell Wilson's going to be great again, and they're going to get all these primetime shows again, primetime games again, and they're going to suck again. So we'll see. It's hard being cynical, but it's the truth. James Ponsdet, I don't know who that is, will be directing multiple episodes of the Wonder Man Disney Plus series, which is going to be starting filming really soon here. A deer was photographed gnawing on human remains. He did not kill the person. It's food, and don't blame him anyway for gnawing on that. A white dog has been spotted living with a coyote pack in Nevada. Eventually, someone was able to rescue him from the coyote pack, but the coyotes were treating him as part of the group, so maybe you should have just left him. An owl escapes from the Central Park Zoo and has eludes the NYPD and zookeeper. So there's an owl loose on New York City right now, so keep your eyes out for that. The Pokemon Company and Toyohashi Museum of Natural History have Pokemon fossils now available at their museum. And you can also go online and see a virtual look at the Pokemon fossils. So I think it's kind of an interesting little bit there. So, back in the 70s, 6-track tape, 60s and early 70s, 6 tracks or 8 tracks tapes were hugely popular. And then vinyl albums came out. And when I was growing up, I had albums and records and stuff like that. And then CDs came out. And then online streaming of music has come out. Then vinyl became huge just within the last 10, 15 years. So now people want their vinyl again. So because of the way the system works, CD sales are up now. The first time in a decade. So CDs are having a renaissance now. So I don't know. So we'll see what happens about that. This was kind of a weird video, but it's kind of neat also. The Japanese telescope centered on top of Mauna Loa volcano, Hawaii, photographed an eerie flying spiral in the Hawaiian sky. Basically, it starts off as a night sky and over Hawaii. It starts off as just sort of like this sort of white orb moving. And then all of a sudden, this little like white flash comes out of the back, and then it turns into a literal spiral. I mean, it was an actual spiral in the sky. The video is, look for it. It's spiral in the sky, something like that on YouTube. It is an amazing footage, and nobody really knew what it was, but a few people believe that there had been a launching of a SpaceX rocket or something like that earlier in the day, and it was re-entering the atmosphere, and it sort of caused sort of that weird sort of look, but it's still kind of an eerie kind of picture to see it turn into that spiral, which is really, really, I mean, for a while, it looks like you could see it probably is the satellite or the rocket or whatever, all of a sudden, but to turn it into this like almost perfect spiral is absolutely bizarre. So I don't know. The first of Guy Ritchie's 2 stories this week. Guy Ritchie will be directing a movie called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. We're starring Henry Cavill, Carrie Elways, Hero Fiennes, Tiffin, Alex Pettyfer, Henry Goleta, Alan Reinhorn, Richmond, Barbros, Scano, Monica, Till Schweiger, and Heinrich Zulin. It's a World War II movie. So it'll be, I guess, Henry Cavill's next film, even though he's not doing Superman anymore. I had a miracle at work where I was given a almost impossible task on Thursday, for something that had to go out on Friday, and I was able to successfully get out on Friday. So I just want to pat myself on the back for that. I was going to do the BAFTA awards, but I decided I got too much to do this week, so I'm just going to skip the BAFTAs, and no one really cares anyway. So moving on. Couple anniversaries. Ace Ventura is 29 years old this week, which is kind of weird because I thought Ace Ventura came out in January, because I kind of distinctly remember someone at my college wanting to get people to go see Ace Ventura because he thought it was going to be funny, but it was January's a place where you dump movies you don't think it's going to do very well, and it did extraordinarily well. So I'm still kind of in I really thought it came out in January, so maybe I misunderstood that. Wes Craven voodoo film The Serpent and the Rainbow came out in 1988. So it's 88, 98, 2008, 2018. It's 35 years. 35 years ago. Excuse me. The Bloodshot comic, #1 from Valiant, came out 30 years ago this week. I kind of remember Bloodshot a little bit. It had a chromium cover, and it was drawn by Barry Windsor Smith, who is a great artist. 10 years ago this week, my Baltimore Ravens beat the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. The First Brothers Bowl, where John Harbaugh, the Ravens coach, was playing against his brother Jim Harbaugh, who was coaching San Francisco at that time. Everyone is pushing the brother Super Bowl story for this one because the Kelsey brothers are playing each other. in this case, they're actually physically going to be on the same field with each other, but the first brothers who competed in a Super Bowl against each other were John and Jim Harbaugh 10 years ago when the Ravens last won the Super Bowl, last in the Super Bowl. They won it 10 years ago this week. I remember distinctly leaving our friend Vanessa's house during the Super Bowl party because it was getting late and it started to snow. And it was when the blackout happened. So we were driving home when they still had the blackout going on. By the time we got back, we were able to watch the end of it, and the Ravens almost coughed it up, but were able to hold on to win. So like 35-33, something like that. So I remember that distinctly. Surprise death this week. Melinda Dillon, who played the mom in Christmas Story, was also in Close Encounters of the Third Kind and a bunch of other movies. Died. But she did not die this week. She died back on January 9th of this year, but her family decided not to announce it, which is fine. You can have their privacy, whatever they want to do. And it got out this week, so this was the first time that it was announced this week. A couple other anniversaries real quick, and then we'll get into the next page of stuff. February 3rd, 1959. So 59, 69, 79, 89, 99, 2009, 2019. 64 years ago. It was the day the music died. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper all died in a plane crash on this date, February 3rd, 1959, 64 years ago. John Carpenter's horror film In the Mouth of Madness came out 28 years ago this week. You Can't Do That on Television, one of the staples in my house when I was growing up, debuted this week in 1979, which makes it 79, 89, 99, 2009, 2019, 44 years old. So that's good. So that's all for for the anniversaries this week. Detective Pikachu 2 is finally in the works. The first one's actually a very entertaining movie, and this week movement has been made on getting it into production. So we're going to be seeing Detective Pikachu 2 sooner than later now. That 90s show gets a second season after its strong first season. Gladiator 2, which is a prequel directed by Ridley Scott. It will be set for a pre-Thanksgiving 2024 release date. So congratulations on that. 1923, the Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren Yellowstone spinoff has been renewed for a second season as well. Let's see anything else. That's second season. Night Court renew the updated new Night Court that's done very well in the ratings as well has also gotten a second season renewal this week as well. The Terminal List with Chris Pratt was on Amazon Prime based on the novels. Also got a second season, and they also greenlit a prequel with actor Taylor Kitsch, who was in the Terminal List original series as well. Sex Life gets a second season and a sexy new trailer because I want to try to say the word sex as much as I can to get my ratings up. Talking about the big game, the Super Bowl. Marvel has released that they will have the Captain Marvel's Captain Marvel 2 teaser trailer, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer, the Ant-Man 3 trailer, and the Secret Invasion trailer, which will probably have the date of when it's going to be coming out. Will be out next week during the Super Bowl. And that's it for I can see right now for updates on second seasons and stuff like that. So congratulations to you all. The Picard Season 3 trailer, which is the final season of the show, reunites Picard with his Next Generation crew in a dark trailer, which leads me to believe that not everyone's going to survive the final season of Picard. So we'll see what happens with that. Disney just I think last week or a couple weeks ago we talked about how Disney got the new CEO or something like that. Well, Disney may be selling movies and TV series, stuff like that, to other streaming services and other networks as well. We'll see how that happens, and if that's going to really be something that comes up here soon. Recently discovered dinosaur mummy is so well preserved that it has skin and its in guts are intact, so you can take a good look at the dinosaurs there. A dinosaur hunter found a 180 million-year-old sea dragon with a 1-ton skull. That was discovered this week as well. The James Webb Space Telescope has recovered from its second instrument glitch, so it's been having some slight issues here and there. Mom's voice holds a special place in kids' brains, but then that changes when they become teenagers, which really doesn't surprise parents, particularly when children, as they're teenagers, they tend to start ignoring their parents. The LA Opera Company is going to be producing a version of Mozart's The Magic Flute, but they're going to have it connected to Super Mario Brothers and Zelda. So while they're playing the Magic Flute, there'll be Super Mario Brothers and Zelda stuff on stage while you're watching it, actual actors portraying these roles and singing the songs and stuff like that of the Magic Flute, the opera from it. So that's kind of interesting to see that come up. The corpse of a rare Atlantic sturgeon that lived during the dinosaur age has washed up on locally Assateague Island, which is a island a little bit further down by Ocean City, Maryland, here in Maryland. So that's kind of interesting. That's the first of our sturgeon stories. So that's a hell of a thing. Photographs of chimps using insects as medicine. I think I've done that story before, but just figured I'd drop it in there again. So it goes to prove that they know what they're doing and they're doing stuff. University of California, Santa Barbara scientists have developed a robotic worm that can swim through sand. Much like last week's metal robot thing melting and remelting, why do we need something that is going to bring tremors down on us? And speaking of tremors, Kevin Bacon wants to relaunch the Tremors movie series and is just waiting for someone to call and say, hey, would you like to star in a reboot of Tremors, which is actually a really entertaining film about worms under the ground. They're under the ground. And they're not robotic, but we do have robotic ones that go under the ground now. The Exorcist reboot has cast Lydia Jewett alongside Leslie Odom Jr., I can't see that, Ann Davis and Ellen Burstyn. So that's good on that. Ozzy Osbourne has joined Elton John and a few other people in announcing their retirement from touring. So Ozzy Osbourne will not be touring anymore. He is retiring from touring and will not tour ever again, as far as we know. 20-inch Pikachu and Gengar Squashmallows are now available. 20 inches are really, really big. So there you go. Humans can still grow a full coat of fur, studies say. I guess if they really put their mind to it, I guess, we are still only animals. But as you can see, I got my fur going on a little bit in my face here. NASA loses 200 Jupiter pics after their Juno probe had issues with their camera. Mount Washington, New Hampshire weather. They were going through the same polar vortex we are. They're in the mountains, and Mount Washington is considered one of the coldest places on Earth. The temperature, because of the polar vortex, was a balmy negative 46 degrees. but they were clocking winds of 98 miles per hour with gusts up to 108 miles per hour, which in turn causes the wind chill to drop to an even balmier negative 108 degrees, which honestly I think is colder than Mars and Antarctica. Just brutal. SpongeBob and Pokemon, if you watch the cartoons, make your kids smarter. Apparently, in a new study came up about that. Here's another sturgeon story. A Canadian fisherman catches the fabled 650-pound century-old sturgeon. So we had two sturgeon stories in a row here. Not in a row, but in this last 5 minutes or so. A sacred Dakota peace pipe sold for $40,000, and the buyer ended up returning it to the Dakota tribe that it was taken from. So good for him. J.J. Abrams and Leonardo DiCaprio will be teaming up for a Stephen King adaptation called Billy Summers about a hitman assassin who decides to do one more job and goes undercover as a writer, and turns out he has a good writer within him. That's the actual Stephen King plot for this. I'm sure there's some supernatural aspects to it and some other stuff as well, or it could be one of his true crime ones. But Leonardo DiCaprio and J.J. Abrams will be working together to bring Billy Summers to the movies. Now, originally it was supposed to be a TV show, but they decided to cut it down and make it into a movie. A Filipino-American comic book creator got his creator-owned comic book. What is it? Fantasy Universe Dreamwalker set for a TV show. So good on that. Behind-the-scenes photos of Megalopolis have started popping up online. Honestly, it doesn't look like anything special to me, really. The Snow Girl trailer, a trailer about a true crime sort of storyline, popped up movie just came out or will be coming out on Netflix very shortly. We've been talking about all kinds of white and black, all white, all black animals. And last week we got into the albino territory. We have our next albino story where an albino raccoon has been located and filmed. So there are albino raccoons now too. This week I saw a recipe for Hawaiian pizza grilled cheese. Basically, you make a Hawaiian pizza, which will have pizza sauce, cheese, pineapple, Canadian ham, all melted into a grilled cheese thing. Sounds pretty good to me. Bluebell, which is a ice cream I really don't care for that much or eat that much, released a I Love Cereal ice cream, which has a lot of like fruity pebble aspects to it. I guess now is as good a time to deal with this, even though we got a lot more to go to. But James Gunn this week announced his first chapter of his DC universe. And I had it, but there was a specific one I was looking for to write everything down. That had the dates and stuff on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and just pick the first one here from the Hollywood Reporter. All right. Does it have it listed somewhere? All right. This doesn't actually have it, a great list of it. So let's see what's this one right here. Okay. So he's calling this first wave, as it were, like how they have Marvel, Gods and Monsters. It's going to lead off with a movie called Superman Legacy, which James Gunn already said he's going to write and direct. It's due out on July 11th, 2025, and will follow Kal-El as he reconciles his extraterrestrial origins with his human family and upbringing. So expect a younger Superman in the lead who can play the role forever. The Authority, superhero ensemble with that are crazy people by Warren Ellis. They've got a movie coming up in the slate as well. The Brave and the Bold is the Batman movie for the slate, where he's going to be teaming up with his son Damian. This one has a 2025 date as well. It's not on this story, but it will be coming out in the fall 2025. So you're going to get a Superman and a Batman movie coming out in 2025. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow is going to be based on Tom King's comic story. We don't know if it's going to include the Supergirls appearing supposedly in the Flash movie, but that's another DC movie coming up. Swamp Thing, yes, Swamp Thing is getting its next movie again. It's going to be a darker Swamp Thing story as well, but he is getting a movie. They're also doing TV shows. Creature Commandos is an animated series written by Gunn, and it's animated. It's going to be seven episodes. Amanda Waller gets her own. Viola Davis gets her own Amanda Waller TV show, which will be between Peacemaker season 1 and 2. Booster Gold gets his own TV show, which is really cool. So he's a great character and we fit perfectly for a TV show. Lanterns, focusing on Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, a buddy cop sort of team up TV show, will be coming up soon. And Paradise Lost, which will be, Game of Thrones, but on Themyscira, where Wonder Woman lived. They're also going to have Drew Goddard and Tom King and a few other people are going to be consultants on it. So you'll be seeing a lot more of that stuff. So that is your DC Comics DCU slate coming up. As I said, I had a good one that had like dates and times and stuff like that when they're due out, but the Superman and Batman movies will both be coming out in 2025. So in order to keep up with that, so you have the Supergirl story, which is based on Tom King's limited series, which just came out in trade paperback, but is now sold out. And then all the old Authority trade paperbacks written by Warren Ellis, which art by Brian Hitch, they're all sold out. And like the stuff that's based on like the Batman and Damian stuff is probably going to be based on the Grant Morrison stories as well. And the Superman Legacy is due to maybe be based on All-Star Superman. So all these trades that would get people excited to see what the story could be about are now all presently on back order. So James Gunn does promise. He went to Jim Lee, who is the CEO, I guess, of DC now, and said, hey, you need to get these back out so our fans can really get into it. So Jim Lee said, sure thing, buddy. So we'll be seeing all these trades probably going to new printings and coming back out within the next year or so to get you pumped and excited for the new DCU stuff. So there we go. There's that. Yippee. One person who will not be part of the DC stuff is Pennyworth. Pennyworth has been canceled. It's a show about Alfred Pennyworth when he was younger. Oh, yeah, also one more follow-up to that. There's also going to be, they're keeping the Robert Pattinson Batman. They're going to do the Black Superman movie and all the other off-brand Teen Titans Go and stuff like that. These other off-brand DC stuff are going to be released as well, but under the heading of Elseworlds. So you will be, alternate reality stuff as well. Let's see if there's going to be, see if they mention it on these other things. No, nothing here, but yeah. So, the other, was DC Elseworlds. No. But yeah, so they are all like your other stuff is going to be centered around these Elseworlds stuff. So you'll still be able to see them, but they'll be under Elseworlds. So that'd be interesting to see. Let's see if there's anything else about the Joker, the Todd Phillips Joker, the Batman sequel, the Max Penguin series, all labeled clearly as DC Elseworlds, the Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Superman story, stuff like that. So they'll be able to do stuff like that. So that'd be interesting too. And so that's everything that's coming up with the DC Batman stuff and DC stuff. And James Mangold, who is directing the new Indiana Jones movie, directed bunch of stuff around, is circling Swamp Thing as his next thing. So he might be the next director for that. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame released their nominees. I guess eventually they'll whittle it down like they do for other Hall of Fame things. But the nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for this year are Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, Missy Elliott, Iron Maiden, Joy Division, New Order, Cyndi Lauper, George Michael, Willie Nelson, Rage Against the Machine, The Spinners, A Tribe Called Quest, White Stripes, Warren Zevon, and someone whose names I can't understand because my handwriting is awful. But there's your nominees. 5,000-year-old tavern with food still intact has been discovered in Iraq. Top Gun Maverick's Glenn Powell is interested in doing the Booster Gold TV series, so he might be involved with that. Grubs is a new animated series, and the vocal cast for it is outstanding. You've got Felicia Day, you've got Will Wheaton, you've got Jodie Sweetin, you've got Jaleel White, you got Jerry O'Connell, you got Jason Marsden, you've got Debbie Derryberry, Andy Rulo, Lauren Brady, Bobby Crosby, Robert Pachu, and Avas. So you got some good vocal actors coming in with that one. It was Groundhog Day for us here in America, as I said earlier, and he saw his shadow, which means there's 6 more weeks of winter. But did you know there's a Canadian groundhog? And he also looks at his shadow on this day as well. He did not this year because he was found dead just before he was supposed to go on. So rip to Canadian groundhog right there. 17th. We see Ant-Man 3 coming out into movie theaters. And part of the setup is that Scott Lang, Paul Rudd's character, wrote a autobiography of his time as Ant-Man, and it's a huge seller. So DC has decided they're going to release an actual kind of autobiography in stores. Has the same title, same cover picture as the original novel, but it's going to have a little bit something different inside it. But that is going to be coming out available here very soon. Last week, I announced that Cobra Kai will have one more season to go before they are canceled at Netflix. But that's not the end of Cobra Kai. They're going to be doing a bunch of spinoffs. None yet have been announced, but they are saying that we're going to do that next. I talked about Leslie Odom Jr. earlier. He is returning to Broadway in a show called Puerile Victorious. There it is. There's the Gibbon story. The Ravens 30 by 30 about the 2000 Ravens is actually going to be on ESPN tonight, Sunday. So I'm going to check that out, 8 o'clock tonight. I've been talking a lot about the Frasier reboot. We now know that the Frasier reboot is going to be taking place in Boston. So he will be going back to Boston for that. The big George Foreman trailer, biopic about George Foreman, starring Chris Davis and Forrest Whitaker, made its debut this week. Some local news, Bojangles, the New Orleans sort of chicken place, is going to be opening up here in Maryland soon. I talked about Guy Ritchie's upcoming film that he is getting ready to direct, but he directed one earlier that's only going to be released later this year called The Covenant, which stars Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a modern day sort of war movie, much like how the next one's going to be about World War II. This is more modern. So we got that coming up here soon. I'll talk about it in a little bit. So we're connected. There is a Mickey Mouse scented candle, and I don't know how you're going to scent Mickey Mouse, but there is one, and it is available now. Bailey's is dropping vanilla mint shake flavored liquor, which is going to be set up just in time for St. Patrick's Day. It's got the sort of consistency and taste of a shamrock shake, but this one you can make into an alcoholic sort of shamrock shake thing. So there's a brand new flavor from Bailey's. So if you're into that type of stuff, pick it up. St. Patrick's Day is about a month or so away from now. So good on that. Scientists discovered 16 ultra black fish that steal about 99.9% of light. So they are the darkest creatures in the ocean. And there's some pictures of them, and they're really creepy looking. They live in the depths of the deep here. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, but they had to get through the Cincinnati Bengals first. And the Bengals have been whining all year about all kinds of things, particularly during this playoff season, and how unfair everything is, and blah, 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 and talking about how great they are, stuff like that. A Ravens team with a second-string quarterback almost defeated them, except for a stupid play fumble. That was the only difference in the game. We were outplaying the Bengals, but now once they beat us, they go into Buffalo saying they're one of the greatest teams in the world. Nobody can beat us. And then they beat Buffalo. And then they go to Kansas City and they start bitching and whining that the game is rigged against them because of certain things that happened, that when you look a little bit more in depth, not really anything too bad about it. They're just whiny bitches now. So that's why I'm glad the Bengals didn't get a chance to go to the playoffs again, because they're a bunch of whiny asshole bitches. And I hope that ends really, really soon, because that's really annoying and they're assholes. And we split with them. And as I said, we almost beat them in the playoffs with our second string quarterback. We outplayed them that whole game. We should have won that game, but that's besides the point. Anyway, one of their best players, a running back named Joe Mixon, he was one of the guys that was stirring up the pot a lot, particularly with the whole coin flip thing. Well, he has a warrant out for his arrest due to a handgun violation. So you might want to step it back there, bro. You're in a lot of trouble now. Now, the Bengals were crying about how their championship game was fixed, that they wanted the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. So it was fixed. So sports people have been asking around about that. And I believe this was a joke, as someone was interviewing Arian Foster, who is a former running back. He said, "Oh, yeah, the NFL's rigged. They give us a script at the beginning of the year, and we have to follow it to the letter, and it's rigged." And I have to believe he was kidding, because after that was posted on Facebook, all these football players and other people started pulling out things that happened this year. Like the guy who almost died on the football field is like, if this was meant to happen, you get that script and you're like, what? You want me to have a heart attack in the middle of a game where I might die? What? Or certain players, hurt themselves or out for the year, so on and so forth. So it was just, it's not rigged. There is no script that they follow. It's just a bunch of whiny babies who can't conceive the fact that their team lost, just like the fucking Republicans. It's a thing that needs to be nipped in the bud. But I truly believe Arian Foster was kidding when he said that. And to get that, just that all the NFL players that came up behind with stuff, and the fans who came with all the stuff that happened. What if this has been going on for years? Joe Theismann, whose bone was sticking out of his knee, he gets the script, says you're going to go down in week 18 with a gruesome bone break thing. He's gonna be like, what the fuck? Or you're going to blow to the San Diego Chargers. You're going to blow a 27-0 lead in the playoffs that could have gotten you to a Super Bowl. But instead, we're going to get this team to go to the next level, the Jaguars to go to the next level, because that's the story this year. It's just bullshit. It's just a bunch of whiny baby bitches. Anniversaries. This week is the 30th anniversary of the novel The Client, written by John Grisham, one of the ones I actually have read of his stuff. It's also a pretty good movie as well. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Came out 23 years ago this week. Casablanca is 80 years old. I don't know if it's this week, but they announced something like that on my Facebook page. So it's probably not this week, but it's going to be coming out soon. I'll probably bring it up again when time comes. But 80 years old, Casablanca. That is absolutely insane. 35 years ago, Doug Williams became the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. He won it with the Washington Redskins. And he was the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Image Comics, which came out this week, 31 years ago this week, was basically a bunch of a top talent from Marvel decided to make their own creator-owned comic company, Image. So they left Marvel and started this company, and it was very successful. You got Rob Liefeld, Eric Larson, and Todd McFarlane, Jim Valentino, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, and they created their, Cyber Force and Wildcats and Savage Dragon and Spawn and Youngblood and Shadowhawk and stuff like that. And then more people came in, and Image is now one of the powerful comic book groups. But it all started 31 years ago this week, February 1st, I believe. All right, moving right along. We've got 2 more full pages to go. So we're not going to be 2 hours like we were last week. The fact that we're only an hour in and I've gone through 3 pages already is fairly spectacular. But here we go with the next 2. I'm going to check that out. Sorry, I talked about that. Jason Bateman will be helming the Pinkerton, which is a historical film about the Pinkerton Detective Agency, coming out soon. 58-foot tall snowman was built in Wisconsin. And that's pretty interesting looking, but it's weird. It's like, why would you want to do that? I don't know. Hershey Park will be removing their whip ride, which is I think a roller coaster. It will be no longer part of the park. So I guess they're dismantling it now. And they're either going to put something else up in its place during the year or whatever, but it will be dismantled before the new season. The Winnie the Pooh horror movie, Blood and Honey or something like that, became sort of an underground little mini hit. So a sequel has already been greenlit for it. So we'll be seeing another horror sequel of Winnie the Pooh. Live action One Piece revealed their first poster with the date of 2023 on it. So we don't know when yet, but the live action One Piece will be coming out this year on Netflix sometime. HBO Max, who's been having all kinds of issues lately with removing their original series and cutting series, stuff like that. These series have new homes now. You'll be able to see them on Tubi or Roku, which I believe are both free apps you can get on any of your smartphones or smart TVs. So you can watch the HBO Max shows that they're not keeping. Like, you won't be able to watch Game of Thrones on there, but you'll be able to watch some stuff like The Nevers and some other stuff on these 2 free channels. The trailer for the for Murder Mystery 2, the Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston movie, sequel's coming out March 31st. And it looks to me that they are the new Nick and Nora. And I think it's really cute. And they seem to be having a good time doing this stuff. So good on that. Woolly mammoths are set to return in 4 years. There's a whole book about how scientists have been trying to recreate woolly mammoths. They are still discovered in the frozen permafrost up in Alaska and the Arctic in Canada, stuff like that. And they're being revealed due to climate change with the ice being melted and stuff like that. So they're revealing these things. So they have actual woolly mammoths that have been dead for a long time, but they have the DNA and stuff like that. And they're working on trying to reestablish the woolly mammoths. And supposedly they are due to return in about 4 years' time. So I guess they have created the main body of it. So they'll create this form, and it'll take 4 years to form. You'll see your first woolly mammoths in 4 years. Along the same lines, scientists are also using this new technology to try to de-extinct the dodo bird and release it back to its natural habitat. So again, they're probably using something similar to the woolly mammoths, where it's a little easier for the woolly mammoths since there actually are woolly mammoths that are still, being unfrozen everywhere, full, skin and all kinds of stuff that they'll be able to stuff. Dodos are a little bit different story because they are extinct, but they probably have some sort of DNA on them as that, and they're trying to create new dodos for that. So we'll see how that goes. What could go wrong? Mexican cave shows signs of human visitors from 30,000 years ago, which means humans have been around for quite a long time. Oh, against all odds, the Australian radioactive capsule has been found. Apparently, it was lost last week in Perth, and it's akin to a needle in a haystack, and they found it. So that's kind of cool. Pixar is going to be presenting a new short starring, what's his name? Carl from Up, as he goes on his first date with a woman since his wife's death. So that'd be kind of cute. It's going to be part of the Doug's shorts that are on Disney Plus now. EA has delayed the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor game from March 17th to April 28th to create the best available game that they can. They need to work on the special effects and stuff like that. Texas Zoo will name cockroaches after your exes and feed them to meerkats. So if you want to do that, it's going to cost a little bit, but it's a fun little Valentine's Day. So you have an ex that you totally despise. You can buy a cockroach. They will name him the name of your ex and him or her, I'm sorry, and they will feed it to a meerkat. So go ahead and do that. It'll be fun. Bad Boys 4 is in the works after success of Bad Boys 3. Bad Boys 4 was a dead cert to get made. It's being in the works now. It's getting ready to get working production on that. We'll star Will Smith and Martin Lawrence again. King of the Hill, Mike Judge's other series besides Beavis and Butthead, but this is a bit more of a typical sort of sitcom sort of thing. We'll be getting a reboot on Hulu coming up soon. So they've already rebooted Beavis and Butthead, so why not reboot King of the Hill? Hopefully they'll age their characters up and make it sort of like that 90s show, so that'd be interesting to see that. CBS orders pilots for a Matlock reboot starring Kathy Bates, which I think is really cool, and a Good Wife spinoff called Elsbeth with Carrie Pearson, who I guess is a character from The Good Wife, which I didn't know was still actually on the air. A rock formation that resembles a crude drawing of a bear has been discovered on Mars. And yeah, it looks like a kid's drawing of a bear with a rock right in the middle of it to make it look like the nose. It's an interesting kind of picture, and it's kind of like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Maybe the aliens drew that after visiting Earth and saw that. But it's still kind of interesting, though. It is there. By combining screams, chimps seem to know 400 words. So I guess when they combine screams, they can create words out of that. UAE will test the first artificial intelligence rover on the moon. It is a Canadian project right now. They will be launching it on the moon, and we'll see how the AI works on the moon. Tom Hanks and Robin Wright will be de-aged using metaphysic AI program in a new film for their Forrest Gump director, Robert Zemeckis. So I don't know exactly what the story's about, but there we go. Boeing bids farewell to an American icon as they delivered the last ever 747 jumbo jet. It has been discontinued. The last one has been delivered, so there will be no more after this year. The first of many Sarah Michelle Gellar stories, or a couple of Sarah Michelle Gellar stories. She's still doing the circuit for her Wolfpack movie. And this one, she says that Marvel female heroes are treated worse than Marvel male heroes, and that needs to stop, and I have to tend to agree with that. So good job, Sarah. Some deaths this week, big one. Cindy Williams, who played Shirley on Laverne and Shirley, was also in American Graffiti with Ron Howard. She passed away this week, meaning that Michael McKean is the only cast member left of Laverne and Shirley. Where's the other one? Bob Bourne, the father of the Marshmallow Peeps, died at the age of 98 this week. And Barrett Stray, a Motown trailblazer with the Temptations and Money, died at the age of 81 this week. Anniversaries. Down Out in Beverly Hills came out in 1986 this week. Sniper with Tom Berenger is 30 years old this week. White Noise with Michael Keaton came out in 2005, so that's 20, 19, 18 years old. 20 years ago, Final Destination 2 was released in the movie theaters. That's the one where everybody fears being behind a truck carrying logs because of what happened with that. And John Carpenter's The Fog, his follow-up to Halloween, came out this week in 1980. So here we are, the final stretch, and we're just moving right along. I've already did this, so boom. 11-year-old boy gets his bachelor's in physics. His name is Sheldon. No, I'm just kidding. It isn't. But yeah, so he did that. So that's interesting. Sarah Michelle Gellar took some of Buffy's ass-kicking boots from the set and still has them at her house. Cryptic lost Canaanite language has been decoded using a Rosetta Stone sort of thing. So it's interesting to see that that's still a thing going around. They're doing that. Just talked about Jennifer Aniston earlier. Her and Julia Roberts. Jennifer Aniston and Julia Roberts will be starring in a body swap movie. So those are starting to make a comeback here. A mysterious 12-sided magnetic dodecahedron was found in Belgium. No one knows what it is, but it's kind of interesting to see something like that. Some carnivorous plants have evolved to be eating poop now instead of bugs. Local news, the J. Crew Factory and the restaurant Cava will be coming to the Hunt Valley Town Center down the road here in a little bit. McDonald's to introduce strawless drinks. So you don't have straws anymore. They're going to have a little cap thing. You just drink it like a sippy cup sort of thing, I guess. Also in Wales, McDonald's in Wales has decided they will be playing some Beethoven in the late evening to cut down on the antisocial fighting and violence that happens later in the evening, as I guess they're apparently a 24-hour sort of deal. But they were be playing some Beethoven to help calm things down a little bit, which is kind of interesting. Kiefer Sutherland returns to television in Rabbit Hole. First trailer for that, for the TV show he's starring in, came out this week. The show will be out on March 26th, I believe, on Apple Plus TV. The Boogeyman trailer, a movie based on a Stephen King story, gets its first trailer coming out June 2nd, so it's going to be like a summer sort of film. I think it's Jaffe Jackson has been cast as Michael Jackson in Antoine Fuqua's biopic. Jaffe Jackson happens to be Michael Jackson's real-life nephew, so this keeping in the family. Aladdin 2 is set to start production soon, with Will Smith returning as the genie. Pennsylvania will be returning American martins to their land, to Pennsylvania, and reintroducing them to the Pennsylvania land. So you start seeing some of them. A bald eagle plays with a golf ball on ice. Shows that they like to have fun as well. Sally Ride, the first woman in outer space, will be getting her own statue in LA on July 4th of this year. A 2,500-year-old love letter was discovered in a sarcophagus of an ancient general. Sarah Michelle Gellar is proud to be considered a gay icon, so good for her. I just want to keep throwing some Sarah Michelle Gellar stuff in there because that's just who I am. That's going to be the last story of the day. The Space Telescope, the JWST Space Telescope, discovers a ring around an asteroid. They've never seen that before. That's kind of cool that that's happening. Cleo, which is a ancient Egyptian dramedy TV show coming from the Jane the Virgin creator, will be making its way to television here very soon. Thunderbolts has been announced as being a Black Widow sequel, considering most of the characters from Black Widow are going to be in Thunderbolts. There you go. Ray Stevenson is going to replace Kevin Spacey in the movie 1242. Scientists were studying life on an island, a brand new island, when one day all the life just happened to disappear. So that's kind of a weird mystery for them they're going to be working on to try to discover. A pig butt worm, which is a flying clear worm thing that has a big butt, has been spotted. A 1.2 million year old workshop has been discovered, which is over in Europe. So that's kind of amazing that something like that is happening. An English man wins 50 million in the English lottery, divorces his wife, and then dies. A Kick-Ass reboot is in the works right now. The first pictures from that have popped up online. The Eternals is the most popular Disney Plus TV. Is the most popular TV. Disney Plus. The Eternals is the most popular Disney Plus movie in 2022. Before I get to the final story, we have some more deaths here. Lisa Loring, who was the original Wednesday Addams and has been popping up recently in reels, comparing her dancing in the old TV show with the way Jenna Ortega did in Wednesday, has passed away this week. Anna Wershog, the Picard Borg Queen, The Last of Us Tess, a bunch of other stuff as well, popped up in a whole bunch of shows and movies, died at the age of 45 this week, which is a shame. That's still too young. Bobby Hull, Hall of Fame hockey player, died this week as well. You saw the deaths here. Anniversaries. Taken is 14 years old this week. One of my favorite movies that you all need to check out sometime is Joe Dante's Matinee. It's 30 years old this week. I can't believe it's that old, but it is. It's an outstanding film. John Goodman is in it, and it takes place in Key West during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And John Goodman is a filmmaker who's coming to the small town to preview a 4D horror movie he created with all kinds of stuff. And it's a fun little film, a coming of age sort of film, stuff like that. So it's kind of cute. It's 30 years old this week. So the final story this week, a pet fish playing a video game in Japan was somehow able to access the Nintendo Switch shop, change the owner's avatar, set up a PayPal account, and ring up a ton of credit card charges in game. I'm still flummoxed about how a goldfish was able to do all that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. All right, that's it for this week's episode of Dylan Knows. Episode 486 is next week. We'll be doing a Super Bowl preview. I don't know what else. So we'll have to wait and see how things go with that. So we'll do the Super Bowl preview. Excuse me. Maybe some Valentine's Day stuff. We'll see. And anything else that happens this week. As far as I know, nothing major should be rolling down the pike this week. But here we are. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for your time and watching the show. Next week should be interesting. My wife will be out of town. Just me and the kids. So hopefully things will go fine. And I hope you'll have a good weekend. I hope I have a good weekend. Get get ready after this Arctic polar vortex stuff that we're going through right now. Temperature is presently 25 degrees here, and actually it's going to be going up, which is surprising. It's going to be 46 degrees today, 48 on Monday, 50 on Tuesday, 57 Wednesday, 57 Thursday, 57 Friday, and 50 Saturday. For Super Bowl Sunday be 43. For February the 13th will be 52 degrees. For Valentine's Day, it'll be 52 degrees. So we're looking at a definite warming trend rolling through here in the next week or so. So thanks for watching, and I am going to finally leave because I'm tired. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye. Oh, and this will probably be gone. So, sorry. Hello there.